Hi friends, welcome to my channel Literature Guide, and today's video is about War of the Theatres because this topic has been discussed by so many scholars and critics. Why it was called War of the Theatres, and was there any rivalry among the playwrights of that time? We do not know, but let's watch what's there in the video. Whether you get your answer in that video or not, I don't know, but I have made this particular video for the students of NET and SET exams. They will definitely get some help from this video.
War of the Theatres. The War of the Theatres is a strange and controversial issue which attracted the attention of many scholars and critics of literary arena. It was actually a stage quarrel among some of the playwrights of the Elizabethan era. There was a dispute among playwrights which made them attack each other with contempt through their comical satires from 1599 to 1602. The dramatists involved in this so-called stage quarrel were Ben Jonson, John Marston, and Thomas Dekker. But William Shakespeare's involvement in this stage quarrel is not yet identified. In 1599, the quarrel began when John Marston portrayed Ben Jonson in the character of Chrisoganus in his satirical play Histriomastix. John Marston added some features to the character of Chrisoganus which instigated Ben Jonson with anger. It is important to note that Marston was good at satires than he was in his comedies. He ridiculed Ben Jonson in Histriomastix, he excessively flattered Jonson with hyperbolic expressions. It irritated Jonson a lot. Ben Jonson either did not understand Marston's point of view or he was irritated by his clumsiness of flattery. As a result, John Marston soon found him on the receiving end, when Ben Jonson produced his comedy of humour Every Man Out of His Humour. This comical satire appeared in the latter part of 1599. Ben Jonson's Every Man Out of His Humour ridiculed Marston. Jonson deliberately employed sentences laden with strange and striking words, which could hit Marston hard. In this play, Jonson attacked John Marston's bombastic style of writing. He wisely and adroitly handled a lethal weapon of satire which had been used by his rival before. The play Every Man Out of His Humour was performed by the Lord Chamberlain's men at the Globe Theatre in 1599, and it was published in 1600. There is a fine blending of irony and satire which provoke laughter and puzzle the reader. In this comedy, Marston was portrayed in the character of Clove. Clove, who has been depicted as a clown, expresses his thoughts in bombastic and pompous manner. The reader can find it in Act 1 and Scene 4 of Every Man Out of His Humour. Every Man Out of His Humour differs basically from Jonson's Every Man in His Humour as far as its structure is concerned. Ben Jonson called it as a comical satire, and not a comedy. In the play, Jonson lashed out at the follies and foibles of people, and commented on the decay and degeneration of values. The reader can find the characters really out of their humour. Owing to Jonson's brutal attack, John Marston gathered his venomous tools of satire again. And he employed them in his next satiric comedy Jack Drum's Entertainment. The play appeared in 1600, and it was acted by the children of Paul's. Some scholars deem it as a burlesque while the others tagged it as a strange mixture of genres. Marston's Jack Drum's Entertainment attacked Ben Jonson with great force, and he mocked at Jonson with his subtle and sharp satiric language. Marston has portrayed Ben Jonson in the person of Brabant Sr. It is said that Thomas Dekker also collaborated with Marston in this venture. Marston's Jack Drum's Entertainment is a critique on human foibles and craziness. In this play, John Marston harshly criticized people who are in love, the people who do not feel love, and the people who consider themselves superior to others. No doubt, it was also directed at Ben Jonson. In response to Marston's harsh attack, Ben Jonson produced his next play Cynthia's Revels or The Fountain of Self-Love in 1601. The play was performed by children of the chapel. This time Jonson really hit both Dekker and Marston hard with his satire and parody. Ben Jonson portrayed Marston and Thomas Dekker in the characters of Hedon and Danaides respectively. The attack was direct and sharp. Jonson dexterously delineated the characters of Marston and Dekker as a pair of empty-headed gallants. The character of Crites is identified as Ben Jonson, who disdainfully treats Hedon and Danaides. Ben Jonson's Cynthia's Revels was performed in 1600 by the children of the chapel at the Blackfriars Theatre, and it was published in 1601. In this play, Ben Jonson attacked on the court amusements in Act 5 of Cynthia's Revels. There is fine interplay of allegorical symbolism, mythological fancy and satire. Like other plays, Cynthia's Revels is also a comical satire and not a pure comedy. The play also alludes to Queen Elizabeth and Essex. John Marston and Thomas Dekker responded Jonson with equal force in their play What You Will, which appeared in 1601. The title of the play also alludes to William Shakespeare's Twelfth Night. Both John Marston and Thomas Dekker really criticized Jonson strongly than before in this play. They portrayed Jonson in the person of Lampathodorus. The character of Quadratus in the play also shares some qualities of Ben Jonson. In the latter part of 1601, Ben Jonson responded in the Poetaster. He delivered a direct assault upon Marston and Dekker. Jonson portrayed Marston and Dekker in the characters of Crispinus and Demetrius respectively. In the Poetaster, Ben Jonson can be identified as Horace. The play was performed by the children of the chapel, and it was published in 1602. Ben Jonson has set the Poetaster in Augustan Rome. The play abounds in songs, repartee, and mockery. In the Poetaster, Marston is portrayed as a buttonholing bore, and Horace somehow manages to escape from Crispinus' boring talk. It is through the character of Tucker, Jonson has brutally attacked Marston's dramatic style, and Thomas Dekker is portrayed as a reviser of old plays. In the Poetaster, Jonson has criticized lawyers, soldiers and players as well. But the attack was mainly directed at Marston and Dekker. He wanted to give a strong answer to his rivals who had kept him restless and provoking him at every corner and on every stage. Owing to Jonson's brutal and harsh treatment, Thomas Dekker attacked Jonson in his play Histriomastix, or The Untrussing of the Humorous Poet. The play was performed in the latter part of 1601, and it was published in 1602. The play was acted by the Lord Chamberlain's company and also by the children of the Pauls. Dekker wanted to give answer to Jonson, so he introduced the same characters of the Poetaster in his Histriomastix again. Dekker criticized Jonson for his churlishness and arrogance. He made fun of Horace's dress, his behavior, and vanity. Thus, the War of the Theatres was really a controversial issue. Nobody knows whether there was any rivalry among the poets or it was merely a means of propaganda. But, it is certain that drama really served as a means of expression when satire was banned both in prose and verse. William Shakespeare probably alluded to the War of Theatres in his famous tragedy Hamlet in Act 2 and Scene 2. The literary scholars have different opinions and interpretations on this matter. Some scholars think that it was a competition between theatre companies, while the others opine that it was merely propaganda in order to promote their plays. Other critics think that it was a debate on the status of literary and dramatic authorship. It is really interesting to note that Ben Jonson and John Marston collaborated with George Chapman's comedy Eastward Ho, which was published in 1605. There was reconciliation between the two poets after the stage Quarrel. The play was performed by the children of the Revels at the Blackfriars. In this play, there were some abusive remarks about the Scots. As a result, Ben Jonson and George Chapman were imprisoned for this offence, but Marston managed to escape. The play presents the London life of the time. It is important to note that all the three dramatists involved in this dispute, they commented on the social and political conditions of the Elizabethan age through their satirical comedies. And they also unveiled London life through their plays. Una Ellis Fermor in her famous book Jacobean Drama calls it as the theatre of war. Please subscribe Literature Guide.